Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee with Craig, this Thursday edition. One of the things that you kind of get used to living kind of in the belly of the beast here in Sacramento, in particular when it comes to firearms, you get used to politicians basically pontificating upon things that they know absolutely nothing about because they think that merely getting elected makes them all-knowing and all-knowledgeable. So, in this particular case, we have anti-gun politicians who say all sorts of things. You might remember Ghost Gun De Leon and his 30 magazine clip that shoots 30 rounds in half a second. He became actually famous. I mean, he became the YouTube, Facebook, Twitter meme god when it came to that particular, when it came to being or saying stupid things about guns. Because he demonstrated he had absolutely no idea what he was talking about. And it's nothing new. Also here in California, we had a gentleman, Assemblyman Mike Gibson, just last year, who put forth a bill that basically said that who demonstrated such ignorance as to say that anything that is readily convertible can be turned into a firearm. A bill that basically would have made this a firearm, which would have required us to have to register this, put a serial number on this. This probably would be considered brandishing a weapon anyway, but that demonstrating their ignorance. So now we've got yet another example. We have a politician here. We have Senator Kristen Gillibrand, and she's basically coming against or opposing an attempt to remove suppressors from the National Firearms Act. In her tweets as she's putting them out, she says, can you imagine if we allowed a criminal with a gun in New York City to attach a silencer to his weapon? It'd be a dangerous mistake. But wait, there's more. When someone gets shot by a gun with a silencer, it's quiet. Witnesses might not hear. Police would be less likely to track down the shooter. Now, admittedly, I've never fired a suppressed weapon. So any of you folks out there in Northern California who would like to, educate a brother, just invite me out. I'd love to try one. But here's everything that I know. I know that the reason why it's called a suppressor and not a silencer is because it does not make the firearm silent. In fact, most folks, and I haven't seen anybody yet to the contrary, recommend that you still wear ear protection when you're firing a suppressed weapon, largely because it does still, in fact, make a noise. So the very fact that it makes absolutely no noise is just plainly ignorant. Just plainly ignorant and stupid. And the worst part is that now we live in a day and age where people are broadcasting their ignorance and their stupidity. Well, let me clarify. Ignorance is simply not knowing. So maybe someone needs to educate the senator. Stupidity is being ignorant and choosing to stay ignorant, or being ignorant, developing the knowledge, and then still choosing to make an ignorant statement, which, by the way, is the case with many politicians. They know the truth. They've heard the truth. They just still choose to lie or be ignorant. So it also made me decide, well, let's go and let's look at some of the other insanely stupid comments that are made by politicians. Now, here's one. It was made by Representative Louise Slaughter. She was a Democrat in New York. She said, the Second Amendment only protects the people who want all the guns they can have. The rest of us, we've got no Second Amendment. What are we supposed to do? She got elected to office. Yes, she got elected to office. Oh, here's one. Nothing like a good candidate. So this is a gentleman, Colorado State Senator Jesse Ulibarri. He's a Democrat from Adams County. Here was his comment. Congressman Gifford's life was saved, and so many others, when very valiant folks stood up to defend themselves and protect themselves, and they did it with ballpoint pens. I suggest that we take all of these anti-gun politicians. I suggest that we automatically draft them into the armed services, and then we send them to the most dangerous parts of the world armed with ballpoint pens. I think that would kill two birds with one stone. Obviously, they would make the world safer, or at least it would make wherever they're going safer, and we would be rid of their stupidity. But it gets worse. Now, here's one. You know this guy, Vice President Joe Biden. I love this one. He says, well, my shotgun will do better than your AR-15 because you want to keep someone away from your house. Oh, because if you want to keep someone away from your house, just fire a shotgun through the door. Yeah, I am not making this stuff up. This is our former vice president. I'll give you one more, I'll give you two more. But this one is from one of our folks here in California, Senator Dianne Feinstein, who I pray anyway will no longer be our senator. We have federal regulations and state laws that prohibit hunting ducks with more than 3 rounds, and yet it's legal to hunt humans with 15 round, 30 round, and even 150 round magazines. When is human season? Has she been watching The Purge? Is that what it is? Has she been watching too much of The Purge? I'm starting to wonder, because I'm wondering in what world it is legal to hunt humans. Yeah. California's finest, baby. Look. Okay, here's another one. You'll love this one. Okay, so this is Representative Diane DeJette. She's also from Colorado. If you ban them in the future, the number of these high capacity magazines is going to decrease dramatically over time because the bullets will have been shot and there won't be any more available. Yeah, we are choosing to allow to govern us. They say we get the government that we deserve. And all I know is this, folks, this is ignorant stupidity, whatever you want to call it. These are people who have clearly made up their minds about where they stand on this issue, where they stand on our right to keep and bear arms. And the worst part is they don't care. They will violate our every single right in order to perpetuate this ignorance. We have a responsibility, not just to ourselves, not just in our own areas, but look, when you see this stupidity going on whether it's the city next to you, the county next to you, the legislative district next to you, you have an obligation. If you have a good representative, then you need to make sure that the folks next to you have a good representative. Because ultimately, in state legislatures, ultimately what comes down to is this. And like in the California legislature, there's 80 members. This thing called the Rule of 41. There's 87 members in the assembly. So a thing called the Rule of 41. Person with 41 votes, they make the rules. So we need to make sure that we're doing everything possible to make sure that our legislature represents our values, which is the right to keep and bear arms. Otherwise, we get that stupidity. Anyway, let's see what y'all have to say. What are we looking at here? Electing these morons speaks volumes about the people who elect them. More than it does about the politicians themselves. Yes, it does. And what it really tells you is most people are tuned out. Most people are ignorant about. And once again, when I say ignorant, I mean they simply don't know. And so we have a responsibility. We have the tools and the mediums to be able to help people that we know understand. Now, some of them aren't going to listen. I get that. There's no reason to beat up on people who who are ignorant and choose to be ignorant. But what I always say is this. I always debate issues because I know that there are people watching and people paying attention who are actually interested in getting informed. And all I know is this. I believe that most people, most reasonable, rational people, when presented with the truth and a lie, they'll choose the truth. I just happen to believe that. But here's the problem, is that if the truth is never spoken to them, all they have to go on, all they have to lean on is the lies. So it's important that we have that conversation. Were those fully automatic pens or semi-automatic pens? Well, now fully automatic pens, I do believe, would probably be banned by the liberals. So We need to be real careful about that. I do believe, however, they were non-lead, seeing as how they were pens and not pencils. That's why they didn't use pencils, because pencils have lead. And we can't have people defending themselves with lead pencils. Okay? I didn't know humans had a season. Well, according to Senator Feinstein, it's legal to hunt humans. The law hasn't changed. So I don't know. According to her, there's, duck season, deer season, human season. You take it up with your senator, not me. I wasn't the one who said that. Politicians need to say no to drugs. Yeah, we just legalized marijuana in the state of California, so maybe the politicians didn't. Maybe even if the politicians said no, the people said yes. What are you going to do? By the way, those are the same people who actually elected Dianne Feinstein, so that tells you a lot about their judgment. If your right to feel overrides my enumerated rights, I need a gun. Phil, that was probably one of the most important things. Yes, if someone's right to feel, if someone's right to how they feel or feel a certain way overrides my specifically enumerated rights, yeah, I do need a gun. So I'm with you, Phil. That's going to get my comment of the day. I'm going to like that one right now. Oh, let's see. Here we go. That's Hollywood doing and clueless politicians. Yes, Hollywood portrays a lot of stuff in a way in which just makes absolutely no sense. I get very, very frustrated with it. Some of you saw, and I ranted just a little bit about that episode of The Arrow, where they called themselves being pretty moderate about guns, but then they talk about, well, the mayor, who, by the way, needs to shave his damn neck. I got no problem with a beard. Shave your neck, okay? Shave your neck, all right? Just that, my personal preference. But anyway, where he passed quote-unquote common sense gun legislation. And what you'll notice in the episode is, and they repeat that phrase several times in episodes after, they never tell you, well, what was the common sense gun legislation? You know why they can't tell you it? Because Hollywood knows absolutely nothing. They have no idea what common sense gun legislation is. You know what common sense gun legislation is? Allow me to be able to defend myself and make sure everybody in the world knows that we have a right to defend ourselves. That's common sense gun legislation. Because you know what that tells criminals? You mess with us, you might catch a hot one. Plain and simple, common sense gun legislation. Anyway, folks, that's going to be it for today. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Remember to stay free.
If you like our videos, follow, subscribe, like, and share.